which I think it can come as a strong recommendation so that it informs decisions visibly. The others were recommendations, which I don't know whether they would be addressed by your meeting or not, but we have noted all of them. Thank you, Chair. I submit.
Honorable Essex.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to emphasize on the issue of mental health issues. I think we've been, we saw in September that there was International Month for Suicides and what is it? And we've also noticed that it's mostly young people and particularly celebrities and so on. And I think it's a new issue, but it's an issue that we must think of also integrating into the work that we are trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The committee secretary has taken note of everything that has been said, and I'll ask him to just come in for a few minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Isaacs. I think there was a recommendation from the Honorable Member from Mauritius around mental health. So the issue around suicide actually also goes underneath mental health. Can I capture it like that? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
So do we have any other comments? Any other recommendations? Okay, we have Honorable Neto there. Then we'll have Honorable Lamini after.
Senhora Presidente, muito obrigado pela palavra. Eu não sei se eu entendi bem. A senhora deputada das Maurícias, quando falou da questão da saúde mental. Eu penso que isso aí é uma questão que é transversal. Temos muitos problemas mesmo de saúde mental com a juventude, né? Acho que em vez de ser uma coisa só das Maurícias, se calhar pudéssemos generalizar mesmo para a nossa região. Era isso que eu queria comentar. Obrigado.
Although I didn't get it because of I put my...
It is just to take this.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, Honorable, that's what the recommendation will say. It will be regional. Thank you. Honorable Lamini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I'm sorry that yesterday I was not in, but I just have a concern with people living with disability. I wonder if there is any recommendation regarding people with disability.
Okay. I think there was, though I don't think we had any recommendation specifically targeting the disability. We didn't have that. So you can come in, Committee Secretary.
Okay. For us not to disaggregate it based on gender or on status of a person, we thought when we apply it to a youth, we say anyone who's a youth, whether they are LGBTIQ plus persons or persons with disability or people living in rural areas or those who are vulnerable maybe because of HIV. We just said youth in general. So probably it can be captured there. But I do believe that at a particular stage, for example, when the structure that targets the youth, as we have already said, one of the recommendations is that we need a youth forum that focuses on youth. Maybe at that time, then it will develop specific programs that are targeted towards different groups or different communities who are vulnerable or who are underserved or who do not get services based on disability or based on HIV or based on any other personal factor or health challenges that they might experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other comments? Any other recommendations? I see none. Okay, so honorable members, we are now moving to a presentation on the SADC, on the SADC PF project on enhancing accountability and citizens' participation 2025 to 2027. So we'll have that presentation by GIZ, by the GIZ resource person on the same topic that I have spoken about. And therefore, I will call upon the resource person to give us a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good morning, honorable members. We will do the presentation. We're just trying to get the presentation to share onto the screen. So give us a minute or two to get that sorted. Thank you. Yeah, I hope everyone can see my presentation, including those who are joining us online. By way of introduction, my name is Ishmael Chiposio. I work for GIZ SADC. We are based in Gaborone, Botswana. My role at the organization is to function as a technical advisor, providing support to the SADC Parliamentary Forum, but also to non-state actors across the region. I have a very short and brief presentation to share with you with regards to this program we are calling Enhancing Accountability and Citizen Participation in Regional Integration through Regional Parliaments. As you may see, this is a 2-year regional program that will run beginning this year. We've started in August and it should conclude in 2027. The logos that you see of the Austrian Development Agency or Corporation, we have the European Union, as well as the cooperation between SADC and GIZ, and SADC Parliamentary Forum is the main beneficiary. So the other agencies at the bottom are the funders. The Austrian Development Agency is the main contributor, with over 90% of the funding coming from the Austrian Development Agency. So the purpose of this presentation is to give you an overview of what this program will seek to achieve, and to take you into confidence also of the different areas and interventions that will be implemented throughout the program. And then we'll also entertain questions and clarifications once we conclude. Okay, the screen is freezing. Unless I try again. Okay. All right. Hopefully that's also the same on the colleagues online. By way of a brief history in terms of setting the scene, the cooperation between SADC, PF, as well as GIZ has started or dates way back to 2012. And this was obviously the beginning of the partnership. In 2014, SADC PF together with GIZ worked on the restructuring process of the SADC PF, particularly targeting the standing committees, and this was meant to mirror the SADC sectors. As you may know, the RSDP was being developed in different stages. So at the time in 2014, the structure of the SADC Parliamentary Forum was transformed to mirror the RSDP focus areas at the time. And again, one of the functions of that transformation was to try and situate the Parliamentary Forum to operate like a parliament. So this was the birth of this cooperation between GIZ and SADC-PF. Between the years 2014 and 2020, GIZ provided support to non-state actors to complement the SADC organs' efforts through the BMZ funding. Again, this was a realization that non-state actors are playing a critical role in advancing the different regional integration areas, and therefore we provided support, technical building support to civil society organizations to augment the work that the SADC Secretariat is doing in pushing regional integration. In 2022, GIZ supported regional non-state actors, including the SADC Parliamentary Forum, and to develop model law on elections. I think this was one of the critical flagship model laws that really gained a lot of traction across the region. The guidelines on the conduct of free and fair democratic elections. This was a model law that was really well championed across the region, and there was a lot of interest to ensure that member states entrench and enshrine the principles of democratic elections across the region. Now, moving forward, between the years of 2019 to 2023, SADC-PF received its funding from ADA through GIZ, and this was obviously done through the partnership or collaboration between AWEPA. This is the Association of European Parliaments with Africa. It's a non-partisan association convened by the European Union, but partnering with African parliaments. Some of the key activities or result areas in that partnership between GIZ and SADC-PF were to develop normative instruments, engage in policy dialogue with civil society, promoting women's political participation and enhancing youth engagement. And I think these are some of the themes that you have seen consistently the SADC-PF espousing to ensure that we promote women's political participation in decision making, but also ensuring that young people are included in the process of regional integration, but also political participation. The third area of focus was to build institutional capacity through benchmarking with other regional parliaments. And I think this has been spoken to today in terms of promoting the spirit of learning from other like-minded organizations. I think in the plenary, there was talk of the Interparliamentary Union, and these are some of the efforts that through this support, the SADC-PF was able to support some of you as members to participate in these regional cooperation bodies. Now, this new project that I've talked about, this is the overview of how that project is structured. In terms of funding, the total volume of the fund is 1.4 million euros. And this is a combined investment of over 2 years. So again, 2025 to 2027. The implementation period again is 2 years. So this will ensure that we provide intensive capacity building measures to you as parliamentarians, but also to colleagues at the SADC-PF Secretariat. As I've mentioned, 90% of the contribution is coming in from ADA. This is the Austria Development Corporation. So maybe just a little discussion on the other contributor. 10% of this funding is coming in from the European Union, and that 10% is coming in to support civil society organizations across the region. Just to share with you, we have recently concluded the process of selecting or nominating civil society organizations across the region, across SADC, to receive capacity building support on different regional integration areas, particularly issues of human rights, access to justice, women empowerment, youth participation, as well as which is our area, promoting the participation of young people in key decision makings. So these are organizations that soon will start implementing activities and some of the activities will actually be in collaboration with agencies such as the SADC Parliamentary Forum. Now, this will be a bit technical, but necessary, I suppose, to offer you a glimpse of the framing and the logical frame behind the program. So I will not spend too much time here, but I will try and, as much as possible, to simplify the explanations for your appreciation. In terms of the overall impact that we seek to achieve, so this is the logical frame behind the intervention. We're looking at strengthened parliamentary structures will contribute to the enhancement of inclusive governance and citizen participation in regional policy making, promoting peace and inclusive societies, and fostering effective and accountable and inclusive institutions in the SADC region. So this is the primary focus, or this is the ultimate goal that we seek to achieve once this intervention is being rolled out or is concluded. In terms of indicators, one of the indicators under this is to ensure that the effectiveness of Parliament or SADC Parliamentary Forum in this case is improved by at least 30%. It might sound simple, or you might think it's a tall order, but this is the aspirational goal that we seek to achieve. And the target values there is that at least we achieve 30% or more come November 2027. Means of verification for this would be the M&E reports, also looking at the SADC PF strategic plan, looking at how much it's achieving its different indicators and objectives as it seeks to transform into a regional parliament. Moving on. These are some of the other additional indicators. One of the under outcome 1, we're looking at competencies and capacities of SADC PF. Okay, still stuck. Controller, okay. I think we should be here now. We are fine now. Okay. So under outcome 1, we're looking at competencies and capacities of SADC PF for implementing SADC's legal and strategic framework are strengthened. And the indicators there would be 1.1, for example, SADC PF's operational efficiency is improved by 15%. Again, making sure that the effectiveness and the operational efficiency of the SADC PF is enhanced through the different measures that we will discuss. There is a baseline to be established in the first year, and then the sources of verification there would be the annual qualitative survey conducted by the SADC PF together with GEWAYD. We're looking at the audit reports because these have to look into also the institutional functionality of the SADC PF. The midterm review of the SADC PF strategy, the OCA report, the SADC PF activity reports, the protocols, checklist, biannual progress reports, and other means of verification. Under the same outcome area, there's a second indicator, 1.2, which is looking at least 6 member states have domesticated model laws by November. This is a very interesting and very important goal to achieve. As you know, and as it's been discussed in the different areas, model laws seem to be the most trendy or catchy ways in which some of the regional instruments are moving at a faster pace. So the hope here is that at least 6 member states would have domesticated some of the model laws by November. We've been discussing at length, I think, in the plenary, the model law on ending child marriages. And it would be interesting to see how much traction we can gain through this support come November 2027. We continue. Okay. I was hearing the Portuguese interpretation was, but it's fine. Okay. Are you okay? All right. Moving on to the next slide. Looks like we have to play around with it like this. Okay. I don't know why it's freezing. It's good now. Okay. We should be here. Under outcome indicator 1, we're looking at competencies and capacities of SADC PF for implementing SADC's legal and strategic framework are strengthened. They are. Where?
Can we please pause
Mm-hmm.
and check whether you did transitions on your slides?
Well, I didn't. It's just as plain as it can be. But let me.
They are there. You see where under the numbers on the left-hand side, there is a star.
Okay.
It shows that there are transitions there. So
All right.
just remove them. Where there is a star, only on the slides where there is a star, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just make it plain. None. Okay. So hopefully that helps.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We should be here. This one, eh? Okay, thank you for that, and apologies. The output area 1, SADC PF's internal organizational capacities for implementing SADC PF strategic plan 2024 to 2028 are enhanced. This is looking into the institutional makeup and strengthening of the SADC PF. Again, as you would recall, the focus is to ensure that the transition of the SADC PF into a regional parliament is smoothened, but also the SADC PF in itself is ready for this transition to take on to the regional agenda. So the indicators are 1.1, one additional gender responsive internal policy, which covers the organization's operations enumerated in SADC's PF 2024-2028 strategy is approved. So an internal policy, which is gender sensitive, should have been developed come at least the end of this implementation period. Indicator 1.2, we're looking at formalized gender responsive and climate sensitive implementation processes for 2 internal policies which govern the organization's operations are revised. Again, this is hope that by 2027 we would have implemented and developed this policy. If I go on to the next slide. Output 2, the SADC Parliamentary Forum implements initiatives to mainstream the RSDP priorities in SADC member states. So the implementation of initiatives that help member states to mainstream the RSDP priorities in their respective countries. As way of indicators, 2.1, at least one gender responsive model law is approved for domestication. This is creating that link between the priority areas of the RSDP and then bringing it at a national level through the model laws. 2.2, 3 normative frameworks reflecting key aspects of the RSDP are domesticated by 3 national parliaments, again, to ensure that the parliaments remain center stage of implementing the regional agenda. And then probably the one but last slide on the overall log frame, output area 3 is looking at SADC Parliamentary Forum's capacity to support gender equality and women empowerment in SADC. Political decision making is strengthened. So this is a very gender sensitive output area. In terms of indicators, we have 3.1. The SADC Parliamentary Forum and its committees conduct regional policy engagements on gender equality and women empowerment in SADC political decision making. There should be a baseline established there. If we look at 3.2, we're saying 75% of the participants of the SADC PF skill development program for women rate the measures at least 6 out of a scale of 10. Very intentional here to ensure that we're not just implementing trainings targeting women, but that at the end of the training, the ratings should improve. So we should be able to gauge how much of skill or capacity you've been able to receive once this measure is completed. And I must say here that you will see this as we do the closure Menti, the assessment of the capacity building measures as we come to an end of today's session. Now, I did mention the fact that there is a 10% contribution of European Union to support civil society organizations. So just to give you an idea of some of the indicators that that measure is looking at, some of these measures will be implemented through a partnership with the SADC Parliamentary Forum, and that is why it's important also to speak to that briefly. But specifically, the objective of this component is to improve or to speak to the role of regional civil society in monitoring and implementation of the RSDP and the SADC Vision 2050 and ensuring that that is strengthened. The specific objective indicator 1, number of regional policy engagements by civil society. This would include regional conferences, consultative meetings with SADC or SADC PF on strategic objectives of the RSDP and the SADC vision are carried out. So looking at how civil society would champion their own internal motivation to monitor the implementation of the RSDP. Under specific objective 2, we're looking at directly supported civil societies or non-state actors attest that their capacity to participate in monitoring the RSDP is improved by at least 2 points. Again, ensuring that the capacity is strengthened for the civil society organizations to ensure that the RSDP is being implemented, and where they feel there are gaps, they're able to respond and provide an avenue of solutions. I wouldn't want to go into the other privy details, but the presentation has a few other slides which are looking into the activities. So just some of the activities to be implemented under this measure. For example, development and adoption of an internal policy on data protection. So this would include the gender dynamics that I've spoken to earlier. Revision of the existing internal policies at the SADC Parliamentary Forum. This would consider governance and ethics policy as well as financial management policy, developing results framework for the project, so on and so forth. There are a couple of slides that are quite detailed. You will get access to this, but maybe for the benefit of our conversation, we may skip this and engage into a discussion. I would want to end here and submit to you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that presentation by GIZ. We can now go into discussions. The floor is open, honorable members. Any questions? Any clarifications? I see none. Okay, so just wait for the committee secretary. The next on the agenda is the post-evaluation assessment, which we will all need to do before we close. All members are requested to participate in the post-evaluation assessment to reflect on their knowledge gained and perspectives enhanced regarding regional integration and SADC PF processes. So do we have that?
Yes, Honorable Chair. Ronald, please share the presentation on the screen. Thank you. So if honorable members and can scan the QR code, it will take you to a Mentimeter. It will be done with a Mentimeter as well. Thank you.
Honorable members, if there is anyone having problems, we're here to assist. Ronald is in the room. We would like to move at the same pace today, hopefully, so that we don't suffer the technical difficulties we had the other time. Are we all in? Have we managed to gain access? Okay, there are just a few other colleagues struggling here a little bit. Are you fine?
Thanks.
Fine. You just scan the. Okay. Open. All right, are we all here? Are we all there? Seeing that beautiful mint screen? Okay. All right. Hopefully, if all of us are seeing this as our first screen, we would have arrived at the promised land. Okay. All right, so we can move. Press your next slide, Ronald, on your laptop. Okay, so this is the first section. Section 1 is asking your background. Please, Ronald, move on to the next slide. This is just your basic information in terms of country representation. So this is what we're seeing now in this room. We have send submit. So kindly select the countries that you represent or coming from. Okay, then next slide, Ronald. Yeah, I think they should have entered their countries by now.
Sorry, I think the one for our honorable speaker is showing in Portuguese and she doesn't understand. Maybe if you can help her. Chairperson, sorry. Our honorable chairperson.
Okay, so
Yes.
the second question, oh, sorry, Ronald, maybe you assist Honorable Chair. She's saying Portuguese. Are we all here? Are we answering this question about the role of Parliament? Yes. So whether you're a member of Parliament or a committee clerk or a support staff. Yeah. Ronald, or is that the phone for the Honorable Chair? Okay. Then you select submit. Yeah. And then you select your role in Parliament. Yeah. We're just waiting for the Honorable Chair to be with us. So. All right, so we're all here, right? We're asking or answering the question, role in Parliament. What is your role in Parliament? Whether you're a member of Parliament, committee clerk, or support staff. Are we fine with this one? Okay. Let's move on. The next question is asking about gender. whether you're a male or female. Please select and submit accordingly. That should be smooth, I hope. Okay, we move on to the next slide. We are asking about your political affiliation, if you're aligned or non-aligned, opposition or ruling. Kindly respond and submit. Okay, if we are all moving at the same pace, is there anybody struggling at this point? The next question is asking about your years in Parliament, your experience in Parliament. So there are options there. If you have spent 1 to 5 years in Parliament, 6 to 10 years, or 10 years plus. So you go for the 10 plus option. Yeah. So kindly select and submit. Okay. The next question is asking your years working on SADC regional integration. So how many years do you assess you've been working on SADC regional integration issues as a member of parliament? Again, similar options. 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10, or 10 years plus. Okay. If we have answered that one, the next question is asking your previous training on SADC regional integration. So to ask, have you received any kind of training or capacity building on SADC regional integration in general? So there are two options, yes or no. And then you submit. Having answered that, the next question is, how long have you been a member of the SADC PF? So how long have you been a member of this body, the SADC Parliamentary Forum? Again, there are similar options, 1 to 5 years, up to 10 years plus. Kindly select and submit. Thereafter, we're looking at assessing your knowledge levels. And this, we just have to press the next button to go to the question section. Are we all here on the question, understanding of the regional integration agenda? So this is a ranking question. This is where you rank, for example, that question that is asking SADC regional integration agenda. How much do you know of the SADC regional integration, or how much do you know of the SADC regional integration agenda? So the rank is between 0 to 10. 0 obviously denoting not so much, 10 denoting the extreme, that you know a lot about. So you can select where you think it's appropriate. Then the next question is asking about familiarity with key SADC protocols and strategies. So this is a yes or no question. Are you familiar or you're not familiar with SADC protocols and strategies? You simply select one and submit. And then the next question is asking you, which SADC protocols and strategies are you familiar with? So there are different options there. You can select multiple options if you know more than one. We've gone through the effort of listing them, so you can select as you find them more familiar or unfamiliar by yourselves. For example, there's RSDP, there's the SIPO, there's a protocol on gender and development, there's a protocol on trade, protocol on extradition. I think this was mentioned too in plenary. There's a protocol on facilitation of movement of people, among others. So kindly select accordingly. You can have multiple selections for this question. And then you submit. The next question is asking you about some notable successes of regional integration agenda that you have learned throughout this session of the 50th standing committees. And again, some of these were discussed by our colleagues from SADC at length in the standing committee joint session. Some of them have been discussed in the separate sessions. We've just given a few options because some of these were the key issues that were mentioned too. There are examples there. The transport corridor is one of the notable successes. And we didn't want to name anyone because there are a number of them for fear of being told We're favoring one over the other. The SADC driver's license is another example. There's the regional power pool as a notable success. Again, for as long as you're a SADC member state, there should be free visa entry, maybe with a few other exceptions. And then you have the peacekeeping missions in Mozambique and the DRC, as well as the SADC guidelines on democratic elections as some of the notable successes. So again, you have the option of choosing multiple successes and multiple options here as your responses. If we are all fine, then we move to the next question or the next section, which is asking us about. I'm too fast. Sorry. But the members seem to be comfortable with this bit. Okay. All right. So this section is asking about challenges of the SADC agenda. What, in your opinion, although we have already given you options, are the challenges to SADC regional integration? And here you have lack of political will, you have limited resources. There's the issue of variable geometry, where you say countries are at different levels of economic progress. There's the issue of political instability. There's also socioeconomic challenges, such as poverty, unemployment, and so on and so forth. So in your opinion, in your assessment, what are some of the key challenges that are delaying or derailing the attainment of regional integration in SADC? Again, you have multiple options to select here. Once you select, feel free to submit. Are we fine? Ronald, I'll be guided by you. Okay. And then here we're asking the role of national parliaments at the different levels of regional integration. So this is now looking at yourselves having been through the different sessions this week, whether your assessment of what parliament should be doing has changed or not changed in as far as regional integration is concerned. So under the question of ratification of protocols, remember this was the question in the Standing Committee joint session. Do you think the role of Parliament is significant or insignificant, whether you agree or disagree? So that's a ranking question. You strongly agree that they are very significant or strongly disagree? So you have of putting it at anyway. So wherever you place your cursor, the score is appearing above the 0 on the far left. So if you think it's 4, if you think it's 6, so on and so forth. So again, here you only select one where you think. So if you think it's very significant, then place your cursor at the appropriate number under that section. If you think it's moderate, again, place your score at the appropriate score. Are we fine, Ronald? Then we submit. Then the next question is looking at the role of parliaments in the domestication of SADC protocols. So again, if you think it's very significant, if it's moderate, if it's less significant. And so along those three options, to what degree between 0 to 10? If we are okay, we can submit. Are we fine, Ronald? Okay. And then the role of parliaments in the implementation of SADC protocols. Again, the three options there, you may rank accordingly. If you are fine, we may submit. Now, this section is asking you about your level of understanding of what SADC PF's mandate is. And then you have to rate the different sections or options provided. So what do you think is the role of SADC PF in regional integration is the question there. So you have an option of 0 to 10. You will have to place it where you feel it's appropriate. and you may submit. Now, the next question, if we're all there, is asking us familiarity with SADC PF's model processes. So how familiar, now again, having been through the different sessions, are you more familiar or still less familiar with the process of how model laws are constituted or adopted? The processes. So you may select and submit. The next question is asking you, what value have you derived from the SADC PF for your national work? So in your engagement and interaction with the SADC Parliamentary Forum, what value do you think this is adding to your representation work in your member parliament or in your country's national assembly? So this is a ranking question as well, between 0 to 10, whether it's adding more value or less value. You will choose appropriately. Okay, the next section is asking us to, we're almost there. We've shortened it this time around. It's not going to be as long as the last one. So this one is looking at relevance, quality, and engagement. And you can just press the next button. So this is question almost similar to the last one. We're looking at the relevance to your parliament of the work with the SADC PF. Again, you may give a similar rating here and submit. Now we're almost towards the end. We want to check whether the different trainings you have received through the sessions have been of good quality. So rate the quality of the training materials that you have received from the presentations from our colleagues at SADC to the interventions that you have received. Rate the quality of these different interventions that you've interacted with. If you're happy, you may rate and submit. The effectiveness of the mode of delivery, so the presentations, the group discussions, if there were any, how effective were those modes of delivery of the training? You may rate and submit. Ronald, there's someone's session, just wait. Is it? I shouldn't start over. So we should be now, after this effectiveness part, we should go to the relevance of the case studies. The examples that were used in the explanation of the different content, how effective or useful were they? You may rate accordingly. Are you happy with the opportunities provided to discuss the content and ask questions? Was there ample time provided for you to make inputs into the discussions? So you can rate accordingly there. And then this should be the one but last question, I hope. We're asking you to give us your overall satisfaction with the training. How satisfied or dissatisfied are you with the training that you have received? So you may rate accordingly. Okay, if we are all fine, we move to the last section. So we are at the promised land now. Suggestions for improvements. Again, here we've provided a number of drop downs for you to select. You can have multiple selections here. So here, one of the options is to say, we would like to see more topics on regional integration being discussed. It's an option. You can choose, you would probably prefer to have more time for discussions if that's an issue for you. You would require perhaps more resource persons for SADC to be bringing almost half of the secretariat, now maybe represented by the different sectors in the RSDP, to come and share different updates as far as regional integration is concerned. You can also select that. Or you would like to see more examples. So if people are talking about the regional power pool, and maybe there's a discussion to be taken on the Kariba issue, or the issue of ending child marriages, and maybe looking at pockets of success. Is this the model? Is this the approach that you would like to see maybe in the next training? So again, you all have your options. You can have multiple selections to choose from. If you have done that and have made your submission, then this marks the end of the survey. Thank you very much. And back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we all done with our assessment? All of us have been successful. Correct. We now move to any other business. Any other business? Anything else you would want to discuss? Any improvements that you would like to see from our resource persons as much as we've done the assessment? Was our room okay? Did we need more water maybe? It seems there's no other business. Clearly, we are all satisfied with everything else. Honorable members, we are now coming to the close of our meeting. We've had lovely deliberations, and therefore I will deliver my closing speech. I can see a lot of excitement on my other side there. Honorable members of parliament from SADC member states, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we draw the curtain of this statutory meeting of the GEWAYD committee, it is with a profound sense of accomplishment and gratitude that I have delivered these closing remarks. Over the past 2 days, we have engaged in rigorous deliberations on advancing the ratification, domestication, and implementation of critical SADC protocols that underpin gender equality, women's advancement, and youth development across our region. Our discussions on the revised SADC protocol on gender and development, the SADC declaration on youth development and empowerment, and the SADC youth empowerment policy framework, I think that was taken out, have affirmed our shared commitment to leaving no woman or young person behind in Southern Africa's development agenda. Parliamentarians and resource persons alike demonstrated remarkable dedication in reviewing advocacy roles, sharing best practices, and proposing action-oriented strategies designed to bridge the gap between policy and practice. Your recommendations will not only shape the agenda of the committee, but also provide impetus for stronger parliamentary oversight and advocacy at plenary and national levels. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to all members for contributing their insights and expertise, the SADC Secretariat and the resource personnel for their technical support, and our partners for their continued collaboration in this vital journey. May the spirit of teamwork, critical reflection, and innovation that characterized our sessions guide the implementation of our agreed actions in the days ahead. As we leave South Africa, let us remember that our efforts gain meaning only through practical follow-up and sustained advocacy in our respective countries. Together, we can transform commitments into tangible progress for women and youth across the SADC region. Honorable members, I wish you safe travel and enduring success in your endeavors. The meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you and travel easy. We'll see you at the plenary.
The plenary is in November in Durban.
In Durban, it's from the 20th.
Can we just make sure that before we go, honorable members, if we can sign today's attendance register? I'm trying to get hold of Paulina to share, and then you can just sign as you go out. Is there?
Yes.
Okay.
It's fine. You took the time today.
Yeah, that's why I remembered. That's why I remembered.
You know what I did yesterday? I started listening. It's into taste. I just said, you know that it's hot.
I remember that. Yeah. No. That was, no. Thank you.
Lynette is not here today. Ishmael will come and sign. Everyone has signed.
No, thank you. Then I. Dun, dun.